Hi everyone, hope you're all staying safe and healthy during all of this. I miss you guys. So quick disclaimer before we get started. My case is based around a 63-year-old female diagnosed with osteoporosis. So we have our lovely AJ here who's going to be my 63-year-old female, so you're just going to have to use your imagination with this one and bear with us. So to start, I'm just going to go through a brief subjective interview with him that highlights some of his social history and his therapy goals so that you guys can see mainly what I use to design this lesson plan, which is based on how to do an equipment-free home workout. All right, so AJ, what brings you in today? See here, you've been diagnosed with osteoporosis for quite a few years and you're starting to become concerned about just your overall strength and your balance.
Yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 55, and over the past couple months I've started to feel weaker and weaker, and I'm a little concerned because I have this garden that I want to be able to take care of in this upcoming summer, and I was just wondering if there was things that I could do potentially just to build up my strength to get me ready for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's super important to maintain your strength, especially at your age and with a condition like this, so that we could definitely put something together for you. So as far as an exercise program, what do you think would be the most feasible for you? Like, what do you think you'd be able to do on a fairly regular basis?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the concerns I had. So as I've been getting older, I don't like to drive at night. My vision's been getting kind of worse, and I get out of work around 4:30, sometimes 5, and so ideally I would like to come to the gym or maybe come here to do my workouts and stuff like that, but I don't think that's just going to be possible, especially now I actually moved about 40 minutes away from here, so I want to try to avoid driving at night. So I was wondering if maybe there was something I'd be able to do, maybe remote.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you have a few key things in your house, it's super easy to design a program you could do at home.
Awesome.
And, I think it's really important that you're actively taking this step to better increase your strength and your balance. And there's no reason that this should cause you extra stress or extra worry about the driving. So you should definitely try to make up something that you can do at home. So let's talk about the layout of your house. You said you just moved. Was that into your house?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Do you have stairs there?
We do.
Okay, with a railing at least on one side?
Yeah.
Okay. What about a higher countertop, like an island in your kitchen or like a bar setup?
Yep, we have an island.
Okay. And then how about carpeting? At least one room that's pretty comfortable where you'd be able to get on the ground and do some exercises? Perfect. Okay, so before we jump into exercises, let's talk a little bit about your osteoporosis. So exactly how much did your doctor fill you in about what this condition means?
He gave me a little explanation about it. He basically just explained how my bones are getting weaker and I should try and do more weight-bearing exercises. I wasn't too sure what he was referring to. He mentioned walking, so that's something I've been trying to do a lot more, is do a lot more walking, but I'm not really too sure what else I could be doing.
Okay, and yeah, walking's great. That's super important for the legs, but you also can't forget about the arms. The arms are super vulnerable with osteoporosis, especially if, God forbid, you were to fall. Those are more of the common bones you were to break in your arms if that were to happen. So we can't forget about that. So now that I have a better idea of where AJ is in the process of change and exactly what his goals are, this allows me to create more concrete objectives. So the objectives I made for him was, for the first one, I want him by the end of the session to be able to explain the importance of weight-bearing exercises using the use it or lose it concept, which I'm going to explain to him next. I'll want him to do that with 100% accuracy by the end of the session. Second objective is, again, by the end of the session, I want him to be able to demonstrate 1 rep of each exercise that we go through with minimal cueing from myself. And the third objective, since the goal of this is to be able to transition it to an independent home exercise program, I want him to be able to choose at least 2 of the 3 exercises we did and explain how he can progress them at home. And again, I want him to do this with minimal cueing. All right, so it seems like you have a pretty good idea of the osteoporosis. I do want to go back, though, and touch on the whole weight-bearing aspect and why that's important. So our bones are made up of a cycle of build up and breakdown. So as we have older bone cells, they get worn out, they begin to die. At the same rate, our bones are continually creating new cells. So this happens in a relatively balanced fashion, and that's how we maintain the strength of the bone. However, when you have osteoporosis, the breakdown cycle tends to outweigh the buildup cycle, and that's where that weakness and the fragility starts to set in. So why do we emphasize weight bearing? We want you to weight bear because that acts as sort of a stimulus or like a wake-up call for you to, it's like a stimulus for the bones to kind of kickstart that whole build-up process. Because if you don't do that and you remain inactive, that breakdown process is going to take control, and that's going to cause you to become more and more weak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically the goal is to just kind of maintain that evenness of the build-up and the breakdown, because we don't want to see that imbalance. Okay, so now that we explained that, are you ready to jump into some exercises?
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. Hi again. Okay, part 2. So this wasn't the setup I anticipated for this, so we had to improvise a little bit. So for our carpet, we have a little setup right here. For our step, I'm in Florida right now, and none of the houses here have steps. So we made do with this step here. This is going to be our railing. And then for our high countertop, just to keep everything in one spot, we have a windowsill here that we're going to use for our push-ups. All right. All right, AJ, so first exercise we're going to do is called the plank. You've probably heard of them before, but this is super important for getting that weight bearing through your entire arm. So it's important for that. Also important for gardening, because a lot of the time you're going to be on your hands and knees. You're going to have to be shifting to pick up different plants, shovels, pots, stuff like that. So I think it'll definitely help you out with that. So what that's going to look like is you're going to have your shoulders right over your hands. Again, we want that direct line to promote that weight bearing. And then you're going to have your legs up on your toes, okay? So I'll have the shoulders, or hands shoulder width apart, weight directly over the hands, and you want to keep an eye on your pelvis. You want that to be right in line, like you're a plank of wood, hence the name. Okay, so you don't want it up like that, and you don't want it to be sagging down like that. You want everything nice and straight, with everything engaged, the core, the hips, arms, everything, okay? We're gonna hold each one for 10 seconds, and we're gonna do it 10 times, okay? So let's see you try that. So remember, shoulder width apart.
Okay.
Good. Weight directly through the hands, and we're gonna watch that pelvis. Perfect, right there. We'll hold that for 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax. Perfect. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
You feel it working everything, right?
Yeah.
Feel the core, the legs, the arms. Good. So we'll continue with that. Say you did that 10 times. And then we'll move on to our second exercise. So I'll bring you guys over here. We'll do our push-up next. So remember, with this, we're going to use the high countertops. So AJ, we're going to have you, this is sort of a modified push-up, okay? You're going to be more upright. This is what you're going to use your high countertops for. Again, you want the hands shoulder width apart, very similar to the plank. You want to be like that plank of wood. Keep the pelvis aligned. You don't want it to stick out like this or sag down like that. Okay, and then you're going to slowly lower yourself so that your breastbone is just about to touch the surface, and push up. Okay? Nice and slow down, nice and slow up.
Okay.
All right, let's see you try that. Perfect. And watch the hips, plank of wood. Beautiful. All right, we'll stop there. And again, I'd have them do 10 of those. So let's talk about the push-ups and the planks we just did. So if you keep up with these pretty regularly, probably in about a week or two, they're going to feel pretty easy for you. So we want to talk about ways that you can make this harder. couple ways you can do that. With the planks, I had you hold them 10 seconds. Maybe you can hold them for 15 or 20 seconds. Another thing you can do is, I had you do it 10 times. You can do it 15, 20 times. Same thing here with the push-ups. You can just simply do more of them. Another thing you can do with the push-ups is change your surface. So basically, the less upright you are, the more challenging it's going to be. So I want you to start doing it on your high countertop, and then you can progress to, say, the arm of your couch, as long as it's sturdy and it's not going to slide around on you. Then you can do it on a step, and then eventually maybe you can do it on the floor. So yeah, that's it for those 2 exercises, and now we'll do our third one. Third one is going to be a lunge. Again, that one's going to be super important for gardening as well. It's a lot of kneeling down, standing up, so that's just going to give you a better transition with all those activities. So I want you to start with your leg up on the step, grabbing onto the railing, and I want you to lower yourself down and up. What a lot of people do with this is they just kind of shift their weight forward. You don't want to do that because that's going to put a lot of stress through your knees, which isn't good, especially with osteoporosis. So we want to stand up nice and straight, head and chest up, and lower yourself down, like you're going to pick up a pail or pick up a shovel to do gardening, okay?
Okay.
So let's see that set up. Pick a foot and put it up on the step. Pretend you have a pail or a shovel directly below you, and focus on lowering yourself down. Good. And remember, keep the head and the chest up, eyes forward. Good. So I have him do 10 of those. And then, so a couple ways you can make this harder. I had you have your leg up on the step. The next step with that would be have your feet flat on the ground. Don't use the step. That'll put a little more stress through the bones. Another thing you could do is flip it around. Put your back leg up on the step. That's going to really incorporate balance and more weight bearing through that front leg. Okay?
Okay.
And same thing with the other ones. You can increase how many you're doing, or you can change the setup of it to make it more challenging.
Sounds
Okay?
good.
Any questions,
No.
concerns? Good.
All set.
All right, AJ, so you did a really good job with all the exercises. So before I let you go, I want to just do a little recap to make sure that we're both on the same page here and we know what to expect going forward, okay?
Okay.
So first thing I want you to do, remember when we talked about the importance of weight-bearing exercises, the whole build-up and breakdown. Can you explain to me again why that's so important?
Yeah, you were saying how my bones, as of right now, it sounds like they're breaking down more than they're building up. So what I needed to start doing is I need to stimulate my bones more often, so this way I could build stronger bone and overall strength.
Perfect. And again, we're doing that now through the legs and the arms, which is super important. Okay. Next thing, so out of the 3 exercises we did today, can you choose 2 of those and explain how you can make those harder at home?
Yeah, I liked doing the push-ups. You mentioned I can make it harder by maybe flattening the surface or using maybe like a couch or something that's not as high
Yep.
as a countertop. And then the plank you mentioned, if I could hold it for longer or maybe shorter breaks in between the sets.
Perfect. Those are all really good ideas. And again, remember, if you are changing the surface, like you said, to your couch, just make sure it's sturdy and it's not going to slide around on you. And then my third objective was for him to demonstrate 1 rep of each exercise with proper form, which he did before pretty good. So I'm pretty confident that he'll be able to do it correctly at home. I'll also provide him with a home exercise program. When we were doing the exercises, he seemed to respond pretty well to the analogies I was using, like a plank of wood or bending down to pick up a pail or a shovel with the lunges. So I'll make sure that I have those keywords in there for his exercise program, so that'll kind of spark that memories to make sure that he is doing them correctly at home. And I think that's all we have. Do you have any questions?
No?
All right, AJ.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good job. All right. Thanks, everybody.